Next from Chicago, Governor Pat Quinn signs the Marriage Equality Act into law, which allows for gay marriage in Illinois. We hear from Governor Quinn and from several legislators who supported the new law. This runs about 15 minutes.
Well, I think the hour is near, and we've heard from Representative Greg Harris. He mentioned about Abraham Lincoln, and Jim and Patrick just mentioned Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. And we are the land of Lincoln, and we understand how important Abraham Lincoln's legacy and words are to us at all times. And it's, I think, most meaningful that yesterday was the 150th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address, delivered by Abraham Lincoln in 272 words. And it really spoke not only in 1863, but for all time, for all of us who live in America. And the very beginning of the Gettysburg Address, President Abraham Lincoln of Illinois said that our nation was conceived in liberty. And he said it's dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And that's really what we're celebrating today. It's a triumph of democracy, a triumph of government of the people, that we believe in liberty and equality, and we're making sure that's part of our law. I think it's very, very meaningful that the desk that I'm going to be signing my name to, and I will have a lot of pens to sign with, and I want to make sure that we mark this day. This desk was used by Abraham Lincoln to write one of his inaugural addresses. And I think that we understand in our state that part of our unfinished business is to help other states in the United States of America achieve marriage equality. We want to have a new birth of freedom across America so that all 50 states of our nation have marriage equality, and love is not relegated to a second-class citizen status for any citizen in our country. And I think it's important, as we approach the moment of signing the bill into law, that we remember the words of a man named Paul, who said centuries ago that love is patient, love is kind, love bears all things, love believes all things, love hopes all things, love endures all things, love never fails. And I'm going to sign this bill right now.
Heather and Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to celebrate family, commitment, equality, love, courage, and community. When our Constitution was written, those who wrote it understood that liberty and equality are not destinations, but they're journeys. And since that time, men and women have struggled to take step after step on that journey to ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And there are many famous people who led the way, and we've heard from a lot of them today, and we've applauded a lot of them today. But there are thousands of others across the state whose courage made today possible. And I just want to mention a few who symbolize the many thousands who made this bill come to be. There are religious leaders, including Pastor Otis Moss, the Reverend Dr. B. Herbert Martin, and Reverend Paul Jakes. There's Romeoville's Reverend Suzanne Anderson Hurdle, Reverend Richard Tolliver, and hundreds of other church leaders who stood for faith and social justice. Politically, there was Pat Brady, the former chairman of the Illinois Republican Party, who stood up for marriage because marriage is a family value. There are these families who had courage to publicly share their lives to make today possible. Families like Jim Darby and Patrick Bova, Vernita Gray and Pat Ewart, Rob Smith and his late partner Stephen Rhines. Families like the Litchfield, John and his mom Valerie, and the church ladies from Flossmoor, Chicago Heights, and Homewood who went out and organized all over the southwest suburbs. Families like Randall Krause Vincent, his husband James, and their friends that organized all across Kankakee County. We should celebrate cities like Decatur, where their campaign to change every porch light green for equality lit up the night. And cities like, I think we got Decatur here. And cities like Rockford, where church and community leaders organized a march through their downtown to support equality. We need to thank community groups, trade unions, business leaders, faith leaders, and activists who stood together as Illinois Unites for Marriage. We should celebrate the thousands who braved the cold and wet to march on Springfield, including 4 really amazing young men who came down on a church bus, and I met them that day. They were cold and shivering in their shirt sleeves, but they came with me to the House floor, and they lobbied like true pros, and I think they're here today. They're waving, so let me just say your names. Stand up, guys. Clayton Boyd, Dontrell Gardley, Anthony Johnson Jr., and Jabel McEwen. Come on, stand up. And of course, in the land of Lincoln, we always have to remember the words of Abraham Lincoln, especially since we have, Abraham Lincoln's desk with us today. So I know the governor will have plenty of Abe Lincoln quotes. So I just wanted to get one in first. That just talks a little bit, I hope I'm not stealing yours, Governor Quinn, about the dedication it took to pass this bill by everyone here. It says, "Sometimes we walk slowly, but we never walk back." If you recall the movie Lincoln, there were also lobbyists. They were referred to in that movie as the skulky men. This effort had its lobbying team also, but they were hardly skulky because they were so proud of the work that they did, and we need to know their names too, and I see them here in the audience. Dave Horwich, Mike Casper, Matt O'Shea, Mary Dixon, Kadeen Bennett, Dave Dring, Dave Sullivan, Coy Pugh, Gabe Lopez, Skip Saviano, Ramon Gardenhire, William McNary, Linda Delaforgue, Courtney Nottage, Dave Lewitsky, Randy Hannig, Jim Bennett, Anthony Martinez, Rick Garcia, John Kohlhepp, and of course the relentless Shada Kremer. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a labor of love and it was a mammoth undertaking. We need to extend our support to those who helped make it possible. There's a man who has supported so many progressive causes and continues to do so, Fred Eigner, who stood tall and never wavered in this. Thank you, Fred. I also want to thank the co-chairs of Illinois Unites for Marriage, Laura Ricketts, and I think I see Ray Koenig sitting there in the back row. He waved. And finally, in the love category, I want to express my love to my colleague and friend Naomi Jacobson and her family for the sacrifice they made to make today possible. Naomi, please stand. And also to my friend, Representative Kelly Cassidy, who couldn't be here to join us today and share this because of the death of her mother. Naomi, Kelly, today is for you, your families, and all the loving families of our state. Thanks.
With the governor's signature today, Illinois goes on record. There is no straight or gay marriage. From now on, there is only marriage in Illinois. That is the way it is in the eyes of the people who love each other, and from now on, that is the way it is in the eyes of the Illinois law. As a result of this historic legislation and the governor's historic signature, those first 33 couples whose civil unions the governor and I officiated in one of my first things I've done as mayor can now marry their partners with the full benefits and the full respect they deserve, just like everyone else. Those first couples in Illinois will no longer be second-class citizens. That is true to who we are as a city and who we are as a state. We've realized that to have a forward-moving state, you cannot have backward-looking laws that discriminate against good and talented people regardless of their sexual orientation. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, they are our doctors, they are our nurses, they are our teachers, and most importantly, they are our family members. And we must remember we love each other and take care of each other regardless of anyone's sexual orientation. So I hope that the leaders across the country follow the lead we are taking here in Illinois. Today, we make marriage equality the expectation in Illinois, not the exception. And because of the governor's leadership, and because of so many others that can be thanked not just for today, but to remember back, as everybody has always said, the arc of history always bends towards justice. That in a short period of time, our nation has gone on record with hate crimes legislation. It has gone on record that you cannot discriminate if you receive federal dollars, and you cannot any longer discriminate in the armed services. And now Illinois goes on record with marriage equality. Congratulations to all those who have given blood, sweat, and tears for this day. Congratulations on your day.
Thank you very much, Governor Quinn. A special thanks to the members of the Illinois General Assembly for passing this landmark piece of legislation. I applaud, commend, and thank you for discharging your duties in a manner in which all of us could be proud. For many, many years, I've been a strong advocate of civil rights and equal rights and human rights. This is a great day for all of us. Let's rejoice in it. I commend my wonderful governor for affixing the signature to this wonderful piece of legislation. Let's go forward, because today is a day for us to rejoice. Thank you.
I am thrilled to be part of this historic celebration of equality. It has been a long and painful wait for many people in Illinois, and some people didn't live long enough to be with us today. So I brought one of them along in the form of my necklace, Dawn Clark Netsch. It was really her necklace, if you didn't understand that. But now, thanks to years of grassroots efforts, legal battles, and legislative courage, marriage equality will be a reality for all couples in Illinois. And that is as it should be, because at its heart, marriage equality is about the fundamental American principles of fairness and freedom. And it is about families. Enacting marriage equality brings an end to the discrimination that has excluded gay and lesbian couples from having their relationships recognized as legitimate and legal. So today, we welcome in a new proud chapter in our state's history of progress. But even as we celebrate this momentous occasion and thank and honor all of those who have fought so passionately for this law, we recognize that our fight for equality is not at an end. Because we know that it is one thing to change the law, but it is quite another to change minds. That is why we will celebrate today, and tomorrow we will continue our work to promote tolerance and fight hatred. We will continue to advocate. We will continue to advocate so that children, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers, all people are truly afforded the same dignity and respect that everyone deserves. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Governor, thank you very, very much. I'll be very brief and simply say I'm very happy to join with everyone in this celebration. I'm very happy to have worked on behalf of the passage of the bill in the House of Representatives. I want to give the appropriate credit first to Heather Staines for her sponsorship in the Senate. And then in particular to Greg Harris for his sponsorship in the House. Thank you very much and enjoy the day.
Well, thank you for that very long and impassioned speech. The best speeches are not eternal. And I think it is important to acknowledge right now that the spirit of democracy, the spirit of America, lies in the hearts of the people, all the people. And that's really why we're here today. We're celebrating democracy. And in particular, I want to salute Fred Eichner and Lord Ricketts, who were part of the movement that made this day possible. But everyone had a role to play. That's the great thing about our country. Every person counts. But we need to have leaders in the legislature who get us to a better place. And in our Senate, on Valentine's Day of this year, that's a long time ago it seems, but on that day, the Senate of the state of Illinois passed the marriage equality law and passed it on to the House. And I want to thank the sponsor of the legislation in the Senate who worked with her fellow senators to pass this important measure. It makes sure that Illinois does not have a situation where individuals are discriminated against in any way when it comes to love and marriage. And someone who spoke about this, who organized not only on that day, but every day since then to make this day possible. And I want to bring her forward now, and that's Senator Heather Staines.
So what a day for celebration. It's just overwhelming. First, I want to thank several colleagues. Senate President Cullerton's not been able to be here today, but he has been a stalwart supporter from the start, truly helping in any way he could with this bill. Anything I needed, he did. And he slated this bill to pass on Valentine's Day in the Senate. And I never knew he was such a romantic, as well as such a class act guy. So in absentia, I really want to thank Senate President for his leadership. And I want to tell a story about my colleagues. Brief. I have so many colleagues. It's such an honor to be a part of this team. The day when we were going out to vote on the bill, right beforehand, we're in caucus in the Senate President's office, and you know, we went around polling, making sure we had enough votes. Well, we had more than we needed. And the Senate President said, okay, does anybody want to drop off? I'm like, what are you doing? No. And he's like, no, you know, sometimes we go out there and get surprises because people think we've got extras. And one of my colleagues said, okay, going, gone, and nobody left. And everybody stayed on there, and nobody wanted to back down because they all knew it was the right thing to do. I am so honored to serve with my colleagues here. Thank you all very much for just being such stand-up human beings in all of this. And in the House, my partner, Greg Harris, has spent his career for this day, and a cause that's so near and dear to him. And he's had many colleagues at his side. I'll let him really speak to that. But I do want to just mention one in particular in addition to Greg Harris, and that's Representative Kelly Cassidy. Yeah. Kelly, her mother passed away 3 days ago, so she could not be here today. So she is there for her service right today, probably as we speak, in Florida. And Kelly, I want you to all know, has crisscrossed this state over the summer and the fall, really swaying the votes and hearts of her colleagues for support of this bill. And in her stead, Kelly Quinn, her partner, is here with us on the stage, and her 3 kids are here, down here, Daniel, Ethan, and Joshua. And I am so delighted that their parents now, Kelly and Kelly, they got engaged on Valentine's Day after the Senate passed it in the House, and I'm so glad they can now say their vows here in Illinois. Today, Illinois makes history by recognizing all loving, committed relationships. We send a powerful message that we in Illinois do not discriminate. We do not treat anybody as a second-class citizen. And it has been a long and bumpy road getting to this place. We passed the Illinois Human Rights Act in 2005, ending prohibiting discrimination in employment and public accommodation. 2 years ago, in 2011, we passed civil unions. We learned, however, that this is far from equality. In January, we heard testimony from Teresa Volpe and Mercedes Santos, mothers of 7-year-old Ava, 4-year-old Jaden, and 8-day-old Lennox, who I think are also here with us today. They told us about Jaden being hospitalized, near death for kidney failure. When Teresa arrived, a hospital administrator barred her from entering unless she identified herself as a stepmother, since Mercedes was already there with Jaden, and she could only have one real mother. We learned about Jim Darby and Patrick Boba. Jim, an 81-year-old veteran of the Korean War. Jim and Patrick, they've been together 50 years, and Jim has always wanted to be buried at the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, a national military cemetery alongside Patrick. Patrick could not be buried there, however, because of under their civil union partnership. In July, these inequities were crystallized when the Supreme Court overturned the Defense of Marriage Act. Justice Kennedy wrote in the majority opinion that DOMA's principal effect is to identify a subset of state-sanctioned marriages and to make them unequal. The differentiation demeans the couples whose moral and sexual choices the Constitution protects and whose relationships the state has sought to dignify. And it humiliates tens of thousands of children now being raised by same-sex couples. The long question makes it even more difficult for those children to understand the integrity and closeness of their own families. And it is your door knocking, your phone calls, your march on Springfield, your conversations with family, friends, legislators, your donated time and money, your perseverance that brought us to this moment today. Justice could not be denied. Thank all of you very much for your help and support on this. My husband, Leo, and 2 of my kids, Sam and Abby, are here with me today. We celebrate that all families can now enjoy the rights and the benefits and the obligations, the squabbles, the dog parks to the beach, all of those things that come with marriage as we have done. Today, we welcome all families in Illinois as equally valued. We enable Teresa and Mercedes, who have been together 21 years, to marry so that everyone knows they are both their children's real mothers. We allow Jim and Patrick to be buried side by side after their lifetime together. As Victor Hugo once said, there is nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. The time is now, and thank you very much for making history in Illinois today.
As a mother of 2 daughters, as a wife of 26 years to Perry Ellen Knope, I am a proud Illinoisan today. Many thanks to all sorts of people. Governor, thanks to you for being a leader on this historic legislation and in doing the final act to get it into law. Thanks to the legislature, the House, and the Senate, and particularly to Heather and Greg for all of your work for getting this done. And they deserve lots of credit, but there's lots of people here who deserve credit just as much. Thanks to all of you who organized, who wrote letters and postcards, who made phone calls. And thanks to those of you who didn't even do that, but who did important things in your office place where you put up the picture of the whole family on your desk. Thanks to those who, with your partner, are singing in the church choir. Thanks to the 2 moms who bring their daughter to soccer practice. Thanks to everyone in the state of Illinois for making this a land that we can be all proud of. It's time to stop planning rallies and start planning weddings. Congratulations.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed
To provide gobble-to-gobble coverage.
of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.